Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are tuned in to the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, and I am your host, Dawn Dai, here to get you excited about your life so that you can live life on purpose and for a purpose. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Vitamin D, it's a pun of my name. My name is Dawn, and you get vitamin D from the sun, so I'm here to shed light into your life. And I do this with inspirational insights and conversations with celebrities and everyday people like you and me. Because if you want to be better and you want to do better, then you're going to have to be able to see better. So join me on this journey of living our best lives and understanding and realizing how you are your greatest asset. What you waiting on? What is stopping you from living your best life? I often wonder at times, what is the true difference between those who do and those who don't? Like, if we all have the skill set, we all have the gift, the ability, why is it that some people do and some people don't? Even when they have the same resources. Well, you know how they say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work hard. I also think it contributes to you have to want whatever you want out of life as bad as you want to breathe. Meaning, despite whatever obstacles that come your way, you're still going after it. But we have to get to a point that we identify what do we want out of life. And that's taking time with self, spending time with self and to truly see yourself. I've really been looking at Dawn probably for the past 2.5 years. I've really had to evaluate who this girl is, who this woman is. What does she want and what is she going after? I mean, there was a whole process, even leading up to resigning from my old job, of having to meet Dawn again. Traditionally, I've said this before, fearless, do whatever, take a chance. But something hit me when it came down to transitioning in this moment, and it disturbed me. It was almost as if I did not recognize myself. And when I think about the fact of what's the difference between those who make their dreams a reality and those who don't, is about those, I guess, if realizing, understanding what do you want? And knowing that even in the comfort that you could be in, are you really to stretch and grow? Because sometimes you can get so caught up with what you got in your hand that you don't even release it to see what else can come in. I went through a whole pruning process to get through this. I mean, I was meditating every day, journaling, burning my incense. I was in the bathtub with my Epsom salt and my water, like really cleansing, because it's so important to find who you are. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure that we spend enough time, and people, I shouldn't say people, I think oftentimes we get in a situation of we're trying to find something that is us, rather than just being. And I think being is to be in the present, all in the now. We get so caught up on looking in the past, so jumping forward to look in the future, but what is it right now? That's at hand. I mean, that's all we got is right now. And that's why it's like, I just have to implore you to go after it and go get it. Go out there and take a chance on yourself because you're worth it. People say all the time, like, Dawn, how do you go after your dreams? Or, why is it important? Because for me, I feel like I'm suffocating. I can't breathe with it. And that can go for your relationship. All I'm asking you is to go after something. Figuring out what you want and getting to know yourself, like truly taking a look at yourself. And I've had to do that. It was interesting. A shop that I go to a lot, it's called the Plus Bus. It's here in Highland Park in California. And I love it because it's a consignment store, it's a vintage store, and they have new items too for plus size women. And we had a curvy conversation, just talking about weight and talking about how we show up in the world. And I said, very candidly, I said, did you know that it wasn't until recently that I had a full-length mirror in my house? I know, right? Because I didn't make the time to look at Dawn. And I wonder how often do you make time to look at yourself? And while my thing was a physical to see Dawn, because if I couldn't even look at Dawn, I couldn't even see or look at what I wanted to change. And I guess that's what we have to look at ourselves. We have to look at ourselves and say, what do you want? What are you looking to change? What are you looking to enhance? But if you don't take the time to see yourself because you're so distracted about what somebody else is doing, what they have, what they don't have, and how you can meet, you'll never find you. And therefore, you'll never find yourself living your best life. How can you expect to live your life on purpose and for a purpose if you aren't even living? See, sometimes we exist being somewhere else, whether that be in the past, whether that's for somebody's expectations, rather than living in our now and in our truth. So I want to encourage that for you. Because perhaps that's going to give you the gumption to know that you're worth it to go after your dreams. Because when I got that full-length mirror, I was able to see Dawn. I was able to see the things that I wanted to change. So when it came to working out, I did it. When it came to Dawn being on Ellen on national TV and the sports bar on spandex shorts, I felt okay with it. Because I decided to choose Dawn. And I was able to be authentic with it. And whatever your thing is, I'm just asking you to show up for yourself. Can you do that? You don't need anything else because you got everything. All I need for you is to step up and be you. What they say, do you, boo? You ready to do you?
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.
All right, so let's talk what's happening. So have you heard about Ray-Ban partnering with Facebook? I was on Instagram and I was checking out, the feed or whatever, doing what I do. And I came across this video with Mark Zuckerberg. And he was announcing this new partnership with Ray-Ban and Facebook to create these new glasses. And they're called Ray-Ban Stories. Now, apparently with these glasses, you have the ability to upload pictures and videos automatically to Facebook, as well as listen to podcasts on top if you want to make a phone call. So take a listen to hear what Mark had to say.
With Ray-Ban Stories, you can capture photos and videos, listen to music or podcasts, or take phone calls, all while staying in the moment and without even taking out your phone.
Hold up. Okay, so we can take pictures, we can do video, make phone calls, listen to podcasts without taking out the phone. Now, I don't know about you, but the first thing I'm thinking about, so I can be walking down the street and somebody can be peeping at me and then recording me and then uploading me automatically to Facebook. Doesn't that give you some concern? I mean, if you have a laptop or if you have your computer, you're covering the webcam, right? So I'm just wondering, in this case, would you not do the same? Well, so in case you're wondering about the privacy, here's what Mark had to say about that.
We put this LED light on the front of the glasses so that people around you will know when you're taking a photo or video. It lights up to let people know that the camera is on. And that's more than what smartphones do. There's also a power switch to turn off your glasses whenever you want, like if you're in a private space. When your glasses are off, they are completely off. The mic is off and you can't take photos or record videos.
Is it really off? That's the question. Because if that's the fact, or if that's the case, why is everybody concerned with the whole Alexa join the speaker talking about it's recording them? Why are people covering up the cameras? Now, let's just be honest. If you want to trip out, how much are you really showing on your cell phone? Because baby, I'm sure I don't even want to know what you've been looking at or what you've been doing, why you look at the cell phone, because who's looking back at you? So in case this tickles your fancy, let me give you some stats on these Ray-Ban glasses. They're available to purchase on the Ray-Ban website. Now, the price range is going to hit you between $299 and $499, and that's going to vary depending on what kind of customizations that you want. It's available in 3 designs with 6 color options. Now, if you're a geek, I shouldn't say geek because I'm a tech geek, but if you're into it and you want to know, like, as far as like the megapixels with the camera, it's coming up with 5 megapixels per image that is captured, and it can hold 30-second videos or 500 pictures. Now, if we can't get to the exact stores just yet because it has not been disclosed, but you can also take your pictures wirelessly by just saying like, hey, Facebook, kind of similar to how we say, hey, Siri. Yeah. And it's going to be compatible with the iPhone as well as Android devices. So my question with you, or to you, are you trying to be down with the Ray-Ban Stories? Would you purchase the glasses? I mean, it does seem convenient. We will come to a point where the phones will be obsolete, but it's something that is to be talked about. I mean, I'm just thinking about, we always talk about the things that you can't believe that people see, okay? There's some things that can be recorded, and I'm just saying I'm not convinced or feel necessarily all the way comfortable with the idea of if the light's on, but we really can't trip because you can't mandate or control somebody and what they do on their cell phone if they record it. At least I guess if you have a heads up, So I just want to know, are you down for the Ray-Ban Stories? Hit me up. Make a comment, do it below. If you're listening, hit me up on social media at Dawn Dai Speaks and let me know if you're down with the Ray-Ban Stories. Okay, when I come back, I got to talk to you about the VMAs. Yeah. I want to talk to you about the performance with Teyana Taylor and Normani versus Lil Nas X. Let's talk about it.
Hey guys, it's Jada Michael.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Jaden Brown. You're tuned in with Dawn Dai.
Get your dose of vitamin D with Dawn Dai and get excited about your life.
Watch out there now.
Now let's talk this VMA performance with Normani and Teyana Taylor. You saw it. I need to look back. It looks like a pair of what could be like a cross, but kind of like the inspiration that came from Janet Jackson. And Teyana Taylor is up there like bop. And then Normani comes around like putting a wop on it and grinding, gyrating, and doing a lot of sexual things. Now, the reason why I brought this up because I didn't hear any backlash. What do I mean by that? Well, we all know when Lil Nas X came out with his BET Award performance, everybody was up in arms. Oh my gosh, what is he doing? The representation, crying out with the children. Are we introducing homosexuality? Well, there were two women on stage and a woman was on top of her, thrusting her with her vaginal, her growing, her pubic area, which would result in someone yielding some sort of pleasure. But nobody had anything to say about that. Why is that? You know, people had brought up the reaction and say, hold on, you know, it's not a homosexual thing. Or I shouldn't say Dawn, they're just talking to people out, you know, in the Twitterverse, Instagramverse, social mediaverse. Oh, well, you know, Cardi B and the rest of the girls, they received backlash from the video WAP. And they said that the whole idea of why it was rooted into that is because of sexism. Right? And not necessarily homophobia. Now, you got to understand that WAP was all about sexual liberation of a woman with a man. I mean, hey, park that Big Mac truck right in this little garage. Hello, somebody. Shoot, Megan was like, I'm going to ride that D and spell her name with it. Was it? Now, you know, people felt like that could have been too offensive, right? And they were trying to make the comparison. But the difference is that we're talking about same sex. So is this about it being too explicit sexually? Because we're looking at the performance with Teyana Taylor and Normani. I mean, all they had to do was take their clothes off and then whoop them. Thank you, ma'am. Okay? Or is it about homosexuality? Now, the reason why I venture towards that, because in the case of looking at apple to apple of two people of the same sex, why is one being ridiculed more than the other? Now, the thing that I find interesting is that whenever, of course, there seems like to be a double standard when it comes to men to women. And I immediately want to result that to probably some type of how our society is a patriarchal society. Is it perhaps that men are more comfortable seeing two feminine women together versus two male? Now, as a Black woman, I can understand the plight of sometimes how people are saying like, oh, it's always a way to downplay or to bring down the Black man. But at the end of the day, art imitates life. And if this man has subscribed to his sexuality and how he identifies, why can't he be who he is? There are kids out there that, or I shouldn't just say just kids, there are people who say that is something that represents them. In fact, there was a post that was, it went viral on Instagram, I caught. It was this 24 or 20-something-year-old teacher, I forget where, I think he was in Michigan, I'm not sure, but had an LGBTQ plus flag up, the rainbow flag in the classroom. And so many students had came in there that he had said like, oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Well, one of the parents complained and said, hey, you're influencing homosexuality onto my child. And he was like, I didn't want to take it down. So therefore, he decided to resign. He decided to step down. So when we come to this whole situation, what are we really talking about here? Heck, I'm looking at this post with T.S. Madison that she put up, and she made the same exact comment. She said, hey, what about the children? Have you put them all to bed, or did you figure out a way to explain this to your kids? Because how do you explain two women together? And back what I was saying about this whole patriarchal society, is it simply about what a man wants to see? Let's call a spade a spade. And I'm just tired of sugarcoating stuff. So what is the real issue? Is it, because when we look at other songs, they're talking about sex, drugs, killing. Are you talking about hiding your kids then? Because you can always change the channel. But if art imitates life and somebody's representing their life, then that's what it is. And who are you? Or I shouldn't say who are you. Tell me what's wrong with it and why it's not okay. Why is it okay for two female or feminine women? You know, I was talking to Jeremiah on the break and I was telling him and I said, you know, I wonder if it would have been an issue for a masculine presenting woman to be with a feminine female. Would that be an issue? Or will we say it's okay just like Normani and Teyana Taylor? What are your thoughts on it? Like, do you see a difference? And be honest about it. Were you offended by the performance between Normani and Teyana Taylor? Simply yes or no. If you want to go into why, but I just want to know because there was so much backlash when it came to Lil Nas X. And we need to identify what the difference is, because these are two same-sex situations that are expressing sexual behavior. So just curious of what you feel about it. So when we come back, I want to talk to you about Russell Westbrook. His picture of him went viral on social media with him wearing a kilt. And it mainly because of reaction from a gentleman named Kwame Brown, comparing his heterosexuality, his masculinity, his manliness to that of why he's wearing a skirt, or as he quoted a dress. We'll talk about it. Vitamin D with Dawn Dai.
Hi, this is Vanessa Bell Calloway.
Oh, it's just amazing.
Peace. What's up, everybody? This is Trey Chain.
And you are listening to Vitamin D with Dawn Dai.
All right. So did you see the picture of Russell Westbrook that went viral on social media? There's a picture of NBA player Russell Westbrook wearing a kilt for a fashion show. And he posted this photo with the caption, "Don't address me unless it's with 4 letters," quoting Kendrick Lamar, his track Family Ties. Now, the reason why everyone's talking, of course, probably one seeing him in a kilt skirt and with the blue hair. But what highlighted even more is based on what this other gentleman said, a former NBA player, Kwame Brown. And he basically was sharing his commentary based on Russell wearing a skirt and how he was in disagreement. And he basically related to the fact of whether or not he was challenging Russell's sexuality. Mind you, Russell is married, and I believe he has 3 children. So take a listen to see what this brother Kwame had to say.
A man that says he's heterosexual with blue hair, a skirt, walking around here looking weird like that is a foreign to me. I'm a heterosexual male. So if you say you heterosexual, there's certain lines a heterosexual does not cross.
What do you mean by that? Just hearing what he had to say, and if you probably watched the video, I mean, it's been going around everywhere. It's posted on every website. It sounds like sexuality or heterosexuality, heterosexuality is some sort of performance. And it's like, what is up with that? Like, is there a line to meet? And the thing that's the kicker is that his own wife, who he's married to, who he lays in the bed with, she's fine. In fact, she put up right under the comments, she put 2 fire emojis with the face with the heart eyes. And it's just so interesting, like the pressures that we put on society about what somebody is doing and what they're not, and how this brother Kwame is comparing it to himself. It's almost like, well, who made you whatever kind of standard? And if we're going to look at that in that view, well, let's look at another view, because I can take myself, for example. I'm a plus size woman. And at a time, there's no difference of saying that if you aren't a size 2, 4, 6, 8, that you aren't beautiful. But now we're reimagining, or I shouldn't say exploring or showcasing all the shapes, the sizes, and the shades that beauty comes in. And it's just a kicker, because here this man is basing someone's sexual identity based on what they're wearing. Now, would it have been the same thing if somebody identified themselves, they were presenting as or they were cisgendered as far as what they were born as a female, but they dress as a male? Does that mean that, how are you identifying their sexuality if they identify the opposite sex than what you see? And the fact that Kwame is trying to make the comparison, or is making the comparison of saying who he is, where do we get the individuality from it? And I think it's just something that we have to really, take a look at, because next thing you know, you're questioning whether somebody is a man, but it's like, what makes you a man? We hear, for historically speaking, of man as somebody that provides, somebody that protects, somebody that's in the household. Well, what does that have to be said about people that are born in a single parent household and say that it is they're being raised by a woman? Now, there are some discrepancies that some may put out, but does that make her less than a woman? Even for a man who is raising his children by himself, does that make him less than a man? Because some roles that may be identified as a woman's role or a feminine role, what's up with that? Now, Kwame went on to say this. He's like, oh, the brothers around my way, if you straight, you ain't doing this. Straight because they don't want to make sure that whatever you're seeing, that they look okay, or what the world is presenting, or how they truly feel. And if the man is saying he's doing it for his fashion, let him do it for his fashion. And you're right. You can express yourself any way that you want. But my thing is, when it comes down to saying or what somebody is because you're comparing it to yourself, that's kind of bold, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of pressures. And I think we have to be mindful of the words that we use, because when you see another child that may be looking up to you, Kwame, or somebody else, and they're learning how to hate that way, versus like if somebody wants to dress that way, if somebody want to do their thing, let them do their thing. You know, you hear it all the time, my sexuality is fluid. There's so many females, even myself, that I have men cologne that I enjoy wearing. Does that make me less than a woman? I just feel like we really have to think about these standards that we're holding our men to be a man. And it's almost like we're reinforcing like the pressures and stresses that affects a man's health. Like, dog, can you live, bro? Like, can somebody do them? And I think if we got to a point where you could do you, if you're not affecting anybody else, like, come on. Because if someone doesn't look like you, or they don't do the same things to you, does that make them invalid? Because that's what it sounds like. You said nobody around my way would do something like that. You even mentioned something about, if you open your mouth, you got to eat the apple. If not, I never ate the apple. It's like, dog, what are we talking about, bro? Again, I'm not offended the fact that you want to express yourself. I mean, it really matters me none. But I'm just saying, let's just take a consideration overall when you're saying, like, I'm just going to compare it to myself. One person. And my thing is that can we get to a point that we support people for living their life? Like, why do we have to put so much ridicule about what someone can and cannot do, and it does not affect anyone else? There's so much pressures, you know, to be who other people want you to be. At what point can you just show up as you? Whether you gay, whether you straight, whether you cisgender female, you want to dress like a male or vice versa. Like, dog, why are we so, you know, here's the thing. There's this thing called life. And I do think perhaps, you know, being exposed to different things early, but we aren't talking about, I guess, foreign things that people are exposed to. We're talking about things that people may resonate to when it comes to, let's just say, if you are gay, you identify as lesbian or bisexual, whatever the case may be. At what point is it not okay to live your truth? We hear so many times about people taking their life. Like, why is it that bad if it's not affecting you? So somebody says, oh, men don't wear thong sandals. You're not going to wear thong sandals because it's a feminine thing. Like, you know, it comes to a point. I'm not going to sit here and say at one point I was like, oh, you know, it wasn't like growing up in Detroit. You didn't see people wearing thong sandals or males, but I had one of my best friends did. He happened to be gay, but that's neither here nor there. You see a lot of people based on cultures and where you are. And my thing is, this is like, yo, rock out however you want to. And if his wife, Nina, talking about Russell Westbrook is cool with him wearing this kilt skirt, gosh doggone it, wear the dang gone kilt skirt. So how you feel about that, Kwame? You're right, live your life. But I'm just saying, you got so high up and strung out about him wearing a kilt skirt that you forgot that he living his life. So while you going off talking about you can express your opinion, just like, you know, you have the right to do so, just remember people got the right to do their thing. So, Russell Westbrook, you better live your life. And if you ain't living it with them, get out then. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's happening right now in the world near and around where we live in. Oh, I love getting into the news and talking about the different things going on. I mean, the Ray-Ban glasses. I mean, the performance. Russell Westbrook. What's up next? Maybe next time we should get back with the quickies. Who knows? But yeah, I enjoy that. Just shedding light on some different kind of stuff that people can consider. But I want to say this. I want to leave you with something. Technology is advancing. You either rock with it or rock out with it. You know, if you do want to complain about the Ray-Ban storage glasses, we got to remember their cameras all the way around. They take pictures when we go into the garage, when we leave out. You know, just be mindful. And if you want to trip about the glasses, remember what's on your phone. When it comes down to Normani and Teyana Taylor, again, my note is just this. Don't just shine light on one area or shine darkness to ridicule because it's in one fashion. Because I really think it has to deal with this whole patriarchal society and how it's built. Because why is one thing okay and it's not? And it's not saying that anybody is innocent or anything is not right or wrong. It's just saying that let's call a spade a spade. Art imitates life. And if that's somebody's truth and that's what they want to do, then do it. And then when it comes to Russell Westbrook, like, let's stop discouraging people to live their truth. In fact, why don't we encourage it? If that's what you want to do it. If that's how you identify, do it. You know how many spices there are in the world? Do you know how many flavors of bread and cheese and meat there are in the world? So to say that a hamburger is only made one way, what? I bet it's some places where they put peanut butter and jelly on their burgers with bacon. I never had it like that, but I mean, it could be good. But my thing is this, be individual, be you. And that's what I want to just implore on this Vitamin D with Dawn Day podcast. Do you? I'm working on, and I'm telling you right now, my vulnerability and opening up and sharing who Dawn is, I'm telling you, you're going to learn a lot more about me as I learn about me. Because I'm going to be here for a long time. I just want to remind you to always just walk in you wherever you are right now. That's when we talk about what's happening. And I appreciate you on this journey with me because, you know, Vitamin D with Dawn Day is my dream. And if you're enjoying the dream and you're like, Dawn, I want to be on the show, I want you to email me, VitaminD@DawnDaySpeaks.com. Also, if you need some advice on a situation with love, relationships, your career, email me, VitaminD@DawnDaySpeaks.com. Also, you know these clips and the interviews and the people that I talk to? Well, I have them up on YouTube. So check it out at Dawn Day Speaks. And if you enjoyed this, I need you to spread the word. You know I quit my job for this dream, right? I'm all in. And we're transitioning to the point where we need to make some money. Because I don't know what's about to happen next. I honestly don't. I don't. But you know, God keeps showing that. I was saying before how I was just on Ellen. How you saw me on there. Like, God just gives the glimpses. And I guess that's what we have to remember. So, in the meantime, until everything unfolds, tell somebody about the Vitamin D with Dawn Day podcast. Have them like, share, and subscribe. It's available wherever you get your favorite podcast. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, everywhere, literally. Also, if you need more inspiration on the go, I wanted to encourage you to follow me everywhere at Dawn Day Speaks. I'm here for you, boo. Now, you know I'm in the business of making dreams come true, and I damn sure ain't gonna forget about mine. So until next time, I want you to always remember that you are your greatest asset. Hey.